Hello, my name is Clara Galbraith and welcome to the first 10-minute band video. This video is all about breathing and how to breathe like a musician. First things first, why work on breathing? Well, if you play a wind instrument, aka woodwind or brass instrument, your air is what powers your instrument and gives you all your sound. So without a lot of air and without good air, you won't have a good sound on your instrument. Second thing, be careful when you're doing breathing exercises. When you're doing a lot of breathing exercises really fast, you can get lightheaded really easily because your body doesn't have enough time to process the oxygen that you're taking in. So if you feel lightheaded or dizzy at all, stop immediately and take nice deep breaths until you feel back to normal. I would also suggest trying these exercises laying down or sitting first until you learn your air capacity in case you do get lightheaded. So, before we get going, let's talk about the mechanics of breathing. When you inhale, your ribs expand, your spine contracts, and your diaphragm contracts. Now you may be wondering, what is your diaphragm? Your diaphragm is a muscle that sits under your rib cage and seals it off to help you breathe. When you exhale, the opposite happens. Your ribs relax back into place, your spine extends, and your diaphragm relaxes. A common misconception is that a lot of people say breathing, you fill up your air tank, like you're pouring water into a cup. Well, unfortunately, that's not true. Air is a gas, so it behaves like a gas and not a liquid. Instead of pouring air into your lungs, like you would pour water into a glass, your lungs fill up like a balloon filling up from the center outward, like this. Now, let's figure out how this works. So to experiment with this, put your hands on your ribs, with your fingers on the front of your ribs and your thumb kind of on the back of your ribs, as much as you can. If you have small hands, you may not be able to reach all the way around. I'm not able to reach all the way around. So, first of all, just take a deep breath in and out. Feel how your body expands in all directions as you take that breath. Let's do it again. Great. Now what we're going to try is we're going to try and just move our fingers. So just breathe frontwards. Try that again. It may not feel very natural, which it should. Now let's do the opposite and try breathing and only moving our thumbs when we breathe. This one's a bit harder. You might feel yourself bending over when you do this. We don't really want either of these things, but it's a good way to compare what you should be doing with what isn't so ideal. Let's do our nice good breath again, where we expand our whole chest. Think about that balloon expanding in all directions. If you can't feel your thumb or your fingers moving or your chest expanding outwards, what's probably happening is you're probably breathing from your shoulders. It's really common for people to take deep breaths like this. Problem is, they aren't actually deep breaths. You just think you're taking deep breaths because you feel really tense and all scrunched up. A deep breath shouldn't leave you feeling tense, and your shoulders shouldn't tense up at all. They might move a little bit naturally, but they shouldn't be moving more than the rest of your body. To combat this, try relaxing your shoulders. If you need to do a few shoulder rolls back or a few shoulder rolls forward, it can help to kind of loosen those muscles out so you don't breathe like this. Once again, the main way to combat this is to just practice it and practice thinking about that balloon. You can also practice in front of the mirror so you can see if you're scrunching your shoulders up. Or ask a friend. Now, let's get to some of the exercises. In the document attached, I've got 3 different levels of exercises based on how challenging I find them. The first exercise I said was the beginner exercise. For this exercise, you breathe in for 3 counts, you breathe out for 3 counts, and then you hold your breath for 3 counts. You repeat the process as many times as you would like. It goes like this. In, out, hold, in, out, hold. It's good to experiment with a variety of tempos with this, and you can even do a variety of count sequences. 3 counts, 4 counts, 5 counts, whatever feels comfortable. Another great thing this exercise is for, and one reason I particularly love it, is it helps me calm down, and it's one I regularly use before going into auditions. It's scientifically proven that some of these breathing exercises can help calm your nervous system and keep you from being stressed out or in that fight or flight response that's especially common before you audition or have a test, or just generally have to do anything anxiety-inducing. Next, we're going to go on to our intermediate exercises. So our first intermediate exercise is to breathe in for 4 counts and then sizzle for 4 counts. And what I mean by sizzling is to make noise like this. Sound like air is leaking out of you. The reason we sizzle is because it adds some resistance to our airflow, which is good practice because most of our instruments that we play have that resistance when we're playing. So we're going to breathe in for 4 counts, then sizzle for 4 counts, then breathe in for 8 counts, and sizzle for 8 counts, and then breathe in for 16 counts, and sizzle for 16 counts. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. 8. 8. Now 16. Take a deep breath in and sigh. Now, the 16 counts probably felt like a lot. It felt like a lot for me. If you need to, you can do it with 12 counts instead and work your way up until you get to 16. The reason we do this exercise is to work on pacing your air. Pacing your air is a really important part of being a good musician and a good wind player because you may not always have the time to breathe, so you need to practice releasing it at a controlled pace and controlled amount of time. For our second intermediate exercise, we're going to breathe in for 1 count and then breathe out for 1 count. And then breathe in for 1 count and breathe out for 2 separate counts. Then we'll breathe in for 1 count, breathe out for 3 separate counts, and then breathe in for 1 count and breathe out for 4 separate counts. So it'll look like this. Try it with me. 2, 3. After this, you would repeat the exercise, going back to 1. So let's try that with 1 repetition. 1, 2, ready, in. Great, take a deep breath in and sigh. The reason I end a lot of these exercises with a deep breath in and then a sigh is it just helps me relax my body again and get back to breathing normally. Next, moving on to our advanced exercises. For the first exercise, we're going to breathe in for 4 counts, then breathe out for 4 counts. Then we'll breathe in for 3 counts, and breathe out for 3 counts. Then in for 2, out for 2, and in for 1, and out for 1. Do all of these back to back 3 to 5 times. This one is one that people commonly get lightheaded on, so make sure you're sitting or laying down the first time you try. All right, let's try it. 1, 2, ready, in. Great, now we have one more exercise to go. For this last one, which is probably the most difficult one, we're going to breathe in, hold your breath for a few seconds, and then take 3 sips of air, waiting a few seconds between each sip. And then you'll release your air. Repeat this about 3 times, maybe 3 to 5. And as always, we'll end with a deep breath in and a sigh. I'll only demonstrate this one time for you. And after you take your 3 sips of air, hold the air and then release. And let's end with a deep breath in and a sigh. Once again, for this exercise, I'd recommend repeating it 3 to 5 times. The reason we do this one is to work on expanding our lung capacity. Don't do it to the point that it's painful, just to the point that you feel a bit of a stretch in your lungs. That's it for today. I hope you enjoy these breathing exercises. If you want to try new ones, you can always try varying count sequences or looking up other things in the resource guide that I've attached in the comments. The resource guide also goes over everything we did today, so be sure to check it out. Thank you, and I hope to see you again soon.